I really want to be able to fund and adequately support our social infrastructure. That's our neighborhood and community resources, our library, our museum, cultural arts.
Thank
Having
you.
all of those things
Cared.
well funded,
Yeah.
because those are the great equalizers.
If you're within the sound of my voice, you are watching or listening to the Sterling Spin podcast. And I'm excited to bring you a new spin on living, loving, learning, laughing, especially the learning, because that's what we're going to do today. We're going to learn about a woman who has a huge heart, is compassionate, and she is a Longmont City Council member. She's also a mayoral candidate. Joining me in the studio is Susie Hidalgo-Fahring, a teacher, a community advocate, and a woman who believes in leadership with compassion. Her campaign calls for elevated voices, building resilience, and ensuring that every resident feels at home in Longmont. We're here to learn not just about her policies, but the heart and motivation behind Susie's vision for our city's future. Welcome to the Sterling Spin.
Thank you for having me today.
Wow, this was a meant to be. I got a
Yes.
call from your campaign manager.
Yes.
And she's like, hey, Susie's around. We could get her in. I'm like, I could if I had any space, but the calendar's booked. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I wish we would have thought of this earlier. I really felt bad because I wanted to give you a forum to be heard. I got home and I got a call and I was like, I can't be there on Tuesday. So, which is our recording day. So I just want you to know, it was like the heavens moved.
Well, that's wonderful.
Do you feel like that happens
yes,
for
I
you?
do. I really do. And it tells me that that's the direction we need to be going and take up that opportunity.
So you feel like life shows you?
If you're listening, if you're just take that moment to breathe and quiet and just make those connections, it's there.
Right.
I believe that it's there.
So this journey that you're on, I understand you just came from teaching. You're a third grade teacher.
I am, yes.
You went home, you freshened up, and here you are in the studio.
Yes.
And you also are a city council member.
Yes.
And in 2024, you became mayor pro tem.
2023, yes,
2023.
I did. Yeah, at the end, tail
At the end. So, wow, a lot is going on for you.
Yes.
Do you have a sense of how this is like a jigsaw puzzle and the pieces are put together?
I feel like I've had a long experience, history. I think, just my life path and obstacles that came along the way just really has given me the resilience, the understanding, and the wherewithal to navigate these, just different components and being able to be that community advocate and still be the best version of myself and also work and family.
Wow.
And
I think you're our like superwoman.
Thank you.
You're our 2025 Superwoman of the Year. I mean, you sound really balanced, taking, what could have been adversarial and turning it into your resilience and an opportunity then to serve others with that perspective and awareness.
Yes, yeah.
These are tough times.
It is tough times. So what called me to even take this role or really push forward in policy was back in 2013, my daughter survived suicide. She actually had multiple attempts. She was hospitalized, and it thrust us into this, just really understanding how fractured mental health care and just physical health care is in this system, in this state, in this country. And, it was really challenging. So there was a period of time where I wasn't balanced, and it was it was hard enough just to get out of bed. And I'm sorry, I'm going to get a little
I
emotional.
feel, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
like, well, that makes sense. I
Yeah.
mean, such a difficult and challenging
Yes.
time. And
And
even though it was the catalyst
it was, yes.
to bring you where you are, you're still honoring that moment,
That
the
moment.
power of it.
Yes, yes. And, I heard from a friend of mine who really, and she said something that resonated with me. You're only as happy as your saddest child.
I've heard that too.
And
It's true.
yes, it is true. It is true. And I think when my kids are in a good place, I'm in a good place. And so that has given me strength as a mom. But also, over the years, I've just learned that I'm not the only one. And as I share my story, as my daughter shares her story, she's coming from a different angle. I'm coming from the viewpoint of a parent, a helpless,
Right.
how we felt so helpless. And what could we do to support other parents, to support youth as they come into crisis? And so you had mentioned earlier how we are at such a challenging time, and it is. I would not
Yeah.
want to be a youth at this time
No.
with social media and all the influences that are over our heads, cell phones right at our disposal, where back in the day you just had your little phone, you could just unplug it from the phone and you're
Right.
done.
Or you had then your next door neighbor and you'd meet on your bikes and you would go for
Yes, and the
rides as
face
far
to
as you
face.
wanted, as long as you
Yes.
knew to be home at 6 o'clock for
Yeah,
dinner.
exactly. And so the challenges that I see, not just as a parent, but also as a teacher in the classroom,
Yeah.
and how youth navigate their day in the classroom, I felt like there was more that I had to do, and there was more in me to advocate for policy around building strong mental health supports, around we had with our insurance coverage, there was very few mental health options. So being able to advocate and expand for those. And, for over 10 years, I've really focused on destigmatizing mental illness.
Hmm.
So I am a trained certified suicide interventionist, as well as I've done trainings for mental health first aid. I've worked with Latino families creating conversation guides, because in my culture, it's very, we don't
Frowned upon.
frowned
Yeah.
upon. And I would talk to my dad, and he would say, "Oh, Mija, just go to church and pray. It's fine, it's fine." I'm like, "No, that I'll do that, but that's not."
No, you
there's other.
actually are shining the light on it
Yes,
so that
yes,
people can become aware,
yes,
have conversation and dialogue,
yeah,
and shed the light to something that's been
exactly.
hidden in the shadow.
In the shadows. And so having those opportunities, when I have former parents come back to me and say, "Would you meet me for lunch?" And they share their stories about concerns that they've had with their children. And, then I start reflecting on how I handled it back then. And I'm like, I could be the poster child of what not to do.
Mhm.
And so it was like, learn from my mistakes, really.
Great. Really
And
great.
so
By
being
the way,
able-
how is your daughter? And is she also an advocate? I
She
felt like you
is.
alluded to
Yes,
that.
she is. And she's worked with other peers. She's 26 now, and she lives in California, in Anaheim. She got her degree in law,
Wow.
and then she is now a tattoo artist
How
in
interesting.
Orange,
She's come a
California.
long way, baby.
She's come a long way, baby, and she finds fulfillment in that. I thought, that is, you do you, Bugaboo.
Yeah, that's really.
I'm very proud of her. She's a very talented artist.
So let's get into a little bit about our world.
Yes.
What you're seeing, what you're feeling, and what you think you can do, or what you believe you can do, or what you know you can do. I mean, I don't know if you have to just think it. Believing it isn't the action. So let's say what you know you can do. You are one of the mayoral candidates.
Yes.
You want people to hear your voice and your passion and your compassion and your resilience. Let's be a little specific.
Okay.
Like, what are you running on and for that's going to have the audience, the people who are listening and watching, say, I want to go with her. I believe in that.
So yeah, I think over the years that I've had on council, I come in with these ideas and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that." And then you get into this role and you realize that's not the direction that the community wants to go. So I'm just going to put a pin on that, and let's engage with community. What are some of the things that our community at large really prioritizes? And, and I'm hearing overwhelmingly looking at the affordability. So for us, it's, being cognizant on the type of ballot measures or tax increases or fee increases that we're exploring. There are some things, within our utilities that we might not necessarily have the choice, we'd have
To
to
change,
raise. We
right.
have to raise. But what are some other things that we could taper down on in looking at that to alleviate some of the cost? Or what are some of the ways that we could look at our permitting processes or business as people are putting in applications for businesses? What are some ways that we could reduce some of those fees and red tape so
The
it's not
burdens
so
that
cost
fall
burden?
on business
Yes,
owners.
yes.
It's really tough.
As well as, I think when I started on council a few months in, we went into COVID and it was lockdown. And we really had to pivot. We really had to change directions in what we were going, how we're handling things, and meeting the needs of people who were on the verge of losing their housing or no food. They had lost jobs. When I was teaching fifth grade at the time, I had 22 students and only 3 had access to internet. And the expectation
In 2020?
in 2020. And
Wow.
the expectation was that they were all supposed to get online. They have their cell phones and
Right.
but they were supposed to be able to access WebEx
Yeah,
on
to
their
get in, to
iPads
learn, continue
learn.
going to school.
And the
Wow.
majority of our classes, especially in our Title I schools, did not have access to internet. So being able to, work with Valerie Dodd, let's start, through our Next Slide program and working with the district and building those coalitions and leveraging what we have or that the city's already doing along with other nonprofits. And we were able to
Whoa.
tap
So
into our.
you sound like you are a liaison
Yes, yeah.
with like an octopus. I mean, that's the image. I'm like,
we need to go there,
you
there,
have
and there.
8 arms and you're reaching out to all these places. And I really can see how the crisis with your daughter and her
Yeah.
multiple attempts at suicide would have caused you to have to
Yes.
act
On a dime.
immediately
Yes,
and
yes.
reach to everything you can. So it's like,
Yes.
oh, this is just a natural outgrowth
Yes.
of an intrinsic ability that you have, something that you do.
Yeah. That is true.
That's
You've
beautiful.
helped me
So
discover something
you
of
see,
myself.
my goal to help you know that
Yeah.
you are a power woman, superwoman,
Yes.
octopus.
Yes.
But reaching out, the liaison is really nice, and you're carrying the residents' voices, the long monsters, if you will,
Yes.
right into the city council and ideally into becoming the mayor. What's the change? What happens? Like, I'm thinking to myself, you have a full-time job. You're a teacher.
Yes. Now, if I become mayor, I'm cutting down.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at
Yes.
some of the logistics
Yes.
of
Yeah.
what is your vision? How will you do this? We already know you're able to do a lot. You're
Yeah.
well balanced.
Yes.
But what's your intention?
So I do intend to cut down to part-time and
Like to be a sub that's called on, or
no, so we have part-time staff. I can go down to a 0.5 FTE. So I would do that. And it's just how I manage. So weekly, and I had already had a chance to shadow the mayor or step in and help in that role as mayor pro tem, being able to attend meetings with our city manager along with the mayor and looking at the agenda, looking at priorities, if something's coming our way, being able to navigate and put these meetings into place.
and you had the opportunity to become mayor pro tem.
Yes.
And it was a 4-5 vote that put you in
Yeah. Yes.
in
Yeah.
there, which means that you had 4 council members who felt that you had skill sets to step
execute,
in
yes.
and execute policy in case the mayor wasn't able to,
Yes.
or in her stead if she
Yes.
couldn't show up
If she
somewhere.
couldn't show up.
So you've already had a chance to taste this role.
Yes, I have. And so I know fully what's expected, how I would execute this role, as far as leading the meetings, setting the agenda, but also communicating with the rest of council to ensure that, and how I manage the meetings that would allow them the opportunity and space to voice and debate the issue. So I don't want to shut people down. something that I think where my leading style would be a little different, and this comes from my own experience serving our union. I used to be our union vice president for the Teachers Association, as well as a member of the negotiating team.
Wow.
So
That's good to know.
So we are sitting across the table and we're negotiating with the district side, it is that back and forth and that conversation. And so allowing opportunity for council members to debate the policy and the issue so we have a full understanding of where they're coming from, and as well as negotiate like how we can make this work, a certain policy.
So has it been in the past that there have been council members where their voices haven't been invited or heard, or that debate hasn't happened to the degree that you're envisioning it?
It hasn't. And, we have a limited time. In some councils I've seen where their practice is you might have 2 times to speak on an issue. But then if another person says something after your second time and it gives you a moment to pause, and I'm like, well, I want to follow up, you're done.
It's too late, right?
Yes. And I think this current mayor has kind of given us some wiggle room with that. But for the most part, it's, after you're 2, you're done.
We're going to take a moment
Yes.
to break. And then when we come back, I want to find out how you're feeling about all of this that's happening in your life. And then let's look at the bigger world too.
Okay.
I want to thank you for being here, listening to the Sterling Spin. I'm Liz Sterling. I'm going to ask you to please hit the subscribe button and then the notification. And we'll take a moment to thank our sponsors. Every great love story starts with a spark, and sometimes you just need the right person to strike the match. That's where Julie Furman and Cupid's Coach come in. With heart, intuition, and a touch of magic, Julie helps singles turn chance encounters into real-life romance. If your heart's ready, consider this your personal invitation and see where love takes you. And we're back with Susie for mayor. Is it Susie for mayor?
Yes, it is.
Is it FOR?
Susie for Longmont.
Susie for Longmont.
Yes.
Susie for Longmont mayor.
Yeah.
And that's the website where
Yes, so
people will go?
Yes, susieforlongmont.com.
Okay, that's easy enough.
Yep.
susieforlongmont.com. So take a step back because you are the one who said in the beginning you like to pause.
Yeah.
Before you act or you stay aware of how you're being moved or directed. You use the word resonance, like I resonate with that. So in this very moment, we're about 3 weeks out, 3 weeks, almost 2-3 weeks out from the election. How are you feeling?
It ebbs and flows. Like it's sometimes up, sometimes down. I just feel like I've done my best. I've gotten out there. I have a strong team that's worked with me that I'm very appreciative. We're going to go out and have some fine dining when this is all done, regardless of the outcome. But I mean, it's really, as you had mentioned earlier, that kind of if it's meant to be, if the stars align and have the, I've come to accept either way. So I will still be on council. Right. Whether it's at mayoral capacity or city council capacity. So there's still work to do.
Are there limits to that? Is there like a timeline in terms of how many times you can be voted to become a city council member?
Yes. So for any seat, it's two terms for the city council seats, the at-large and wards. And then the mayor can run for 3 2-year terms.
3 2-year terms for the mayor.
For mayor.
So if you don't get it this time, I mean, I'm a positive person. I always like to see into the future.
Yes.
But I also like to have like a B plan.
Yes.
So your B plan is that you're definitely still on city council.
Yes.
Would you lose the mayor pro tem position?
It depends on, what the vote would be. I'd be welcome to continue that role if the council, that upcoming sitting council accepts that. So yeah, no, I'd be happy to.
And potentially another run. I mean, you
Yeah.
feel like really moved to do this, or you'll wait and see how you're.
I need to process.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to process.
What has it
Get a
been
little bit
like?
of sleep and see.
Yeah, I was going to say, what has it been like running for the mayoral seat? What has that experience been like? Because I've heard some people say being in a campaign and running is like, having a perpetual baby for 9 months and
Yeah,
giving
yes.
delivery. You're like
Yeah.
just going on and on and on. And you said sleep, so I'm
Sleep.
imagining
Yeah. It's
a
a
lot.
lot. And what I have noticed this time around, it feels like the campaign season was started earlier than what I had experienced in 2019 and 2023. So it feels like it's just it's becoming more of a marathon instead of that little sprint at the end of summer where you're just.
I mean, I think in January we started looking at 2026 in terms of the more federal.
Yes.
People are really awake now and aware and invested. Do you see that your residents are more attuned to the politics of the community, the city, and because of what's going on in the world at large?
Yes, I've seen that there is more engagement. There's more fear, and I am sensing more frustration. So then I go back into my teacher role when we have students that are acting out or something's going on in the classroom or they just don't seem like themselves. You look at root cause. So what is happening? So when I'm meeting with a resident who's maybe very upset, and I don't take it personal.
So you apply that unconditionally. Don't take it personal.
I'm not taking it personal. But there have been personal attacks on me, and it was like, okay, well, let's get to where this is, because I'm trying to come from a place of honesty, and I really want to problem solve, so and come up with a solution. So it's looking at for really listening to understand where is that coming from. I won't interrupt, let them say their piece. And I'm not thinking about how I'm going to respond to that. I'm really focused on trying to understand where they're coming from.
It's intentional, active listening.
Yes.
That's what you're practicing.
Yes.
You're like, I'm with you. And then when it's time for me to respond, I'll know what to say because I heard you.
Yes, exactly. I'm not making an assumption of what I think they're upset about or, or building up my rebuttal.
Right. So let's talk about this root cause thing that's happening. Like you said, more people are in fear, more people have anxiety. You can see it come into the classroom. What have you rooted out about what's feeding?
So, a lot of economic uncertainty. You don't know what that changing tide's going to be.
Yeah.
And it's loss of control. So at a time when we were able to make these decisions, it was like, okay, I'm going to go get a house or I'm going to do this. But there's so many other factors that are serving as barriers and getting in the way. And then, two, the other thing is we're making decisions on council or even at the state and national level, and it's totally out of line with what the majority of the people may want. It's that frustration. It was like, well, I've sent these emails and said this is the wrong direction, and why are we going this way? So how do we better communicate with residents to help them understand, the process, to help us understand why we're going in the direction we're going, or even give a forum for people to provide input?
Let me make sure I'm hearing what you're saying. What I'm hearing you saying is that you give people ample opportunity to have their voices heard, but in many times they don't. So you, as a city council, you start moving in a direction that you can negotiate, that works, but then you hear from the residents and they're like, wait a second, that's not what we want. So somewhere there's like a bypass and the voices of the community aren't reaching not only the council members, but what the ultimate outcomes are. And you want to bridge that.
I do want to bridge that. I do sense there is a barrier. There is, a disconnect. And how can we bring that
now,
how can we align that?
Right.
Better
so now with more people being concerned about economics, about the safety of themselves and their family.
Families.
In your world, in your life, in your
Mm-hmm.
community, have you had exposures to situations where people have been removed from their home, their work, their environments?
Mm-hmm.
Are you hearing about what's happening with the ICE and immigrants? And is it affecting you? Is it affecting us? It affects me emotionally.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
affects me that I have to have self-control, is not to
Yes.
sit in front of the screen and look at the images.
Yes.
But I don't know anyone that's gone through that at the moment. I know.
Okay. Yeah,
it-
and I've know some people that's happened, but at more at the national
Right.
level, and just connections that I've had with. So I sit on a few councils through the National League of Cities. One is the Racial Equity and Leadership Council. The other
Racial equity and leadership. I like
Council.
that.
Yeah, and HELO, the Hispanic Elected Local Officials Council, as well as the Youth Education and Families Council. So we meet quarterly. So I'm pretty much meeting with them on Zoom every month. And through, we've had conversations with other municipal leaders on the council where they have had residents who have been
taken. I mean, they're
and
saying
how to-
kidnapped.
And it's,
And
yes,
denied due process.
denied
right.
due process. We've had, in my own experience in the classroom, I had a family that I was working with. Initially, they were living in their car. And this is what I learned, that how our nonprofits are so valuable. I was not aware of this, but Hope had actually worked with that family. And so we were, I found this out later, but when I got looped into it, the child was in my class. And so getting them out of their vehicle and into permanent housing. And so that piece, but there was also some immigration concerns. And we had been going fine, everything was good. And then all of a sudden the dad came and said, I'm picking her up. We're moving to North Carolina.
Out of here.
Out of here. She didn't even know.
Wow.
So, so that it's that emotional strain that you build relationships with your students.
Yeah.
And
your families and people, and to feel
and they're integrated into our community.
Right.
And, they have, so my other kids were just devastated. And, they've built relationships. They have connections. And then it's just.
These are very tumultuous and unsettling times.
Yes.
And really not just because of the uncertainty of economics.
Yeah.
There are these bigger stories that are unfolding.
Yes.
Do you feel that you, as a city council member here in Longmont on a local level, do you have any power, any say, any influence? Is there anything that you do as council to assure your residents in the community that you are offering safeguards for them, that you're overseeing to keep them and their lives as balanced as possible?
And that's why I get involved with the councils through the National League of Cities, is building that coalition of other elected leaders, what we can do within our city to protect our people, and as well as even working within the rest of Boulder County. I serve on Congressman Negusa's Latino Advisory Council. We just had our meeting a couple of weeks ago, and talking about, okay, we need to really look at regionally what's happening.
Right.
Because something that adds to that fear is the confusion. So if one municipality is handling a situation a certain way, and then another municipality is handling it a different way, there's a lot of, it adds to the confusion and chaos.
Yeah.
So if we can have a specific response when we see that residents, their human and civil rights are being violated, how can we as a municipality or as a county respond to that and support?
How do you sleep at night?
I sleep very well.
You do? Well, maybe because you're exhausted, right? But I mean, with so much going on, how do you rest? How do you if you're exhausted, you'll just fall asleep and you're lucky.
I'm a heavy sleeper. If there's something, earthquake, or I'll probably sleep through it. No, when I'm out, I'm out.
Well, that's
so
good.
that helps. That helps.
You were scratching your
I
head.
was
You're like, how do I do this?
I do that? I
Right.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's like, it's go. And I think, you end up, when there's a call to action,
Yeah.
it's just that adrenaline.
Right.
And that comes from years of union advocacy. And,
Mhm.
so I would go down when Pueblo had their strike, and it was like, okay, let's go, our Red for Ed, and we're out there. So that's how I roll anyways.
So this is what I'd like to complete with. I would like to be your fairy godmother for this
Okay.
moment and come to you with your wish come true.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you could lock, stock, and barrel everything that you're feeling and wishing and desiring
Mm-hmm.
and looking to have happen in our community, or regionally, nationally, federally, internationally. Go as far as you wide for your family, for your daughters in California doing tattoos, to
Yeah.
your being
Yeah.
able to sleep at night and
Yeah.
your residents to sleep at night too.
Yes.
You get to have your wish granted. Could you tell me what that would be?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded.
It is. I
It
want to
is.
hear it. I want to feel it from
Yeah.
you. You have a beautiful
So
heart
I
and
think,
soul.
oh, thank you. I think just for my family, just that they have that peace, that they're achieving what they want to achieve, and that they're feeling good in their skin. For my city, if it happens that I'm mayor, that people have a sense of tight-knit community. Something that I've heard overwhelmingly from residents is that they really like the small town feel. And as we grow, so I really want to be cognizant of how we grow to maintain that tight-knit community.
So you want a both end.
Yes. Still maintain that affordability, but that social infrastructure.
Right.
I think I really want to be able to fund and adequately support our social infrastructure. That's our neighborhood and community resources, our library, our museum, cultural arts.
Thank you.
Having all of those things
Care.
well funded,
Yeah.
because those are the great equalizers. So people who don't have the means to engage and go to the Denver Museum or go to a play, they actually have it here
Right.
and they can access that.
Right. Beautiful.
That would be mine.
That is really, really nice. That keeps us all connected. It
Yes.
fulfills your desire
Yes.
to be able to speak to others and have their voices be elevated,
Yes.
their voices be heard. And I think built in is resilience. We need to be resilient in this time.
I run because I'm a public servant. At the end of the day, we are elected by you to represent you. And my goal, my mission is to fulfill that to the best of my capability, to ensure that our services are there when you need them, to ensure that, we have, that we can maintain affordability so that everyone can thrive here. I've been through a period of time where I felt very isolated and alone. It's not a good place to be. And I'm going to do my darndest to really support community and make sure that we have those strong safety nets and coalition building within us.
Wow. You really showed us your heart. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Susie, for Longmont.com. Thank you for being with us here in the studio today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Best wishes for your success in every way, shape, and form.
Thank you.
And until the next time you're within the sound of my voice, this is Liz Sterling thanking you and letting you know that your presence matters. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you'll be informed every time a show drops. I want you to know that you are what really matters. Being here, watching our show, liking it, and sharing it. And we'll continue growing together. Be well, be blessed. Keep spinning toward tomorrow today. Bye.